What's good, YouTube? It's your boy, Blue Blood Sports TV, back at y'all with another one. So, undefeated, two-division world champion, currently the reigning WBO super featherweight world champion, superstar boxer, Shakur Stevenson, who is Olympic silver medalist, who is undefeated with a record of 17 wins, no loss and no draws, 9 wins by way of knockout, 24 years of age, 5'7", with a 69-inch arm reach. After defeating the longest reigning champion in the super featherweight division, the 130-pound division, being Jamel Herring, for the WBO title to become a two-division world champion in dramatic fashion, stopping Jamel Herring in the fight, Shakur Stevenson is now going to get the fight he long been waiting for against fellow undefeated two-division world champion, Mexican superstar boxer, who is currently the reigning super featherweight WBC world champion, undefeated Oscar Valdez. 30 wins, no losses, no draws, 23 wins by way of knockout, 31 years of age, 5'5" with a 67-inch arm reach. But with that said, Shakur Stevenson, he's going to have a 3-inch arm reach advantage over Oscar Valdez, and he's going to have a 3-inch height advantage over Oscar Valdez, okay? With that said, Shakur Stevenson, obviously, he's significantly younger than Oscar Valdez, 7 years younger than Oscar Valdez, and he has half the fights. Oscar Valdez nearly has double the amount of fights that Shakur Stevenson has. Oscar Valdez, he has more knockouts than Shakur Stevenson has fights. Shakur Stevenson has 17 fights. Oscar Valdez has 23 knockouts. Oscar Valdez, he's coming off of a beautiful performance to become a two-division champion in February of 2021 when he defeated and knocked out Miguel Berchelt in dramatic fashion, shocking the world because he was the underdog going in that fight, moving up in weight. And Miguel Berchelt was a knockout artist with 37 wins, 38 wins, 1 loss, no draws. He had 34 big wins by way of knockout. So out of his 38 wins, he had 34 knockouts. He's much bigger at 5'7" with a 71-inch arm reach. He's just as he's 30 years of age as well, and he was on a tear, that being Miguel Berchelt. And everybody expected Miguel Berchelt to knock out Oscar Valdez, seeing as though Oscar Valdez has shown vulnerabilities in the past. He was in fights where he looked like he was getting ready to get knocked out. So he was in action-packed fights. So with that said, the Scott Quigg fight, he had broken jaw in that fight. So many people pegged Miguel Berchelt too big, too strong, and too much of a risk for Oscar Valdez, but he shocked the world. He was the bigger puncher. He was, the one that got that scored the dramatic knockout victory. With that said, Shakur Stevenson had been seeking out a fight with Oscar Valdez since they both were at 126, and Shakur Stevenson was Oscar Valdez's mandatory challenger. And Oscar Valdez, he vacated the belt and moved up. And Shakur Stevenson had been calling out Oscar Valdez for quite some time and saying that their mutual opponent, legendary promoter, Top Rank CEO and promoter Bob Arum, and Top Rank had been hiding Oscar Valdez from Shakur Stevenson, okay? And so Oscar Valdez, at one point in time, he stated that he wanted a unification bout with Shakur Stevenson. It just made sense. But Oscar Valdez, he ran into some controversy himself when Oscar Valdez had tested positive for a banned substance on USADA's, anti-doping agency list, okay? Ahead of his fight with Olympic gold medalist, Brazilian star boxer Robson Casacia, and the boxing world was calling for Oscar Valdez to face some sort of consequences for his actions, okay? It was stated that Oscar Valdez had drank some tea. Then it was stated that Oscar Valdez didn't understand how it got there. But the World Boxing Council, better known as WBC, President Mauricio Suleiman, they came to his defense and they said what he took was equivalent to drinking 10 Red Bulls. Well, if you drink 10 Red Bulls, then that's a performance enhancer, regardless of how you look at it, okay? And nonetheless, he faced no consequences for it, okay? He didn't get stripped of the title. His fight with Robson Casacia took place, and he fought and beat Robson Casacia. But again, many people thought that Robson Casacia outboxed him and should have got the nod in the fight, okay? I thought that Robson Casacia clearly won the fight. He was outboxing Oscar Valdez, okay? He was making Oscar Valdez miss. He was countering Oscar Valdez. Okay, and he didn't get the nod. It went to unanimous decision to Oscar Valdez. Robson Casasia, 33 years of age, 5'10" with a 70-inch arm reach. Okay, he was outboxing and he was countering and he was moving. But he didn't get the nod because they said he didn't do enough in the second half to take the belt from the champion. Well, that's very, very interesting, okay? Because it's odd, because we just saw the longest reigning champion in the sport of boxing, and Mr. Gary Russell Jr., who was the 126-pound featherweight WBC champion, take on Mark Magsayo, undefeated Filipino rising superstar title contender, and he lost his titles in a majority decision when he clearly injured his arm in his right arm in the fourth round, wasn't able to use it, and was still outboxing and making Mark Magsayo miss and in close quarters countering him with only one hand, and got to 12 rounds. It got a majority decision, not in his favor. But he didn't do enough. He never hurt Gary Russell Jr. He never had Gary Russell Jr. in compromised position. Yes, he outlanded Gary Russell because he was able to use two hands to Gary Russell able to use one hand, but yet Gary Russell landed the more cleaner and effective punches, but he didn't get the nod, okay? And it's interesting because he didn't do enough to take the belt from the longest reigning champion in the sport of boxing. So when it comes to that fight, everybody says, well, Gary Russell lost. But you didn't see Mark Magsayo put in a masterclass performance and almost knock out Gary Russell, who only had one arm. But in the situation with Robson Casasia and Oscar Valdez, the fans are saying, well, in the second half, Robson Casasia, he let off the gas and he didn't do enough to take the title. Well, you look at Mark Magsayo's punch output in the second half of the fight once Gary Russell got injured, and his punch output dropped. So his activity dropped. So we're scoring it based off of what? Okay, so with that said, nonetheless, Oscar Valdez was able to keep his title. Robson Casasia now going into a fight against Xavier Martinez, who's 17 wins, no losses, no draws, this upcoming weekend, January 29th. Okay, so that's scheduled to take place. And so with that said, Oscar Valdez, he responds in an interview he done, and we know now that Oscar Valdez Shakur Stevenson fight is finally going to come to fruition. Now, initially, promoter Bob Arum, who promotes both fighters, he stated that Oscar Valdez and his team were looking to fight Emmanuel Navarrete, not fight, Shakur Stevenson. Okay, Emmanuel Navarrete is a 126-pound champion. Okay, and he is 35 wins, 1 loss, no draws, 29 wins by way of knockout, 27 years of age, 5'7" with a 72-inch arm reach. He holds the WBO title at featherweight. Okay, it looks like Emmanuel Navarrete is going to be seeking out unification, about looking to get an undisputed champion at 126 now. And so that fight, initially Bob Arum, he told me personally that that's the fight that Oscar Valdez and his team were looking forward to, a fight with Emmanuel Navarrete. And then Bob Arum was looking at a possible opponents for Shakur Stevenson. He stated he wanted to make the fight between Shakur Stevenson and two-time Olympic gold medalist, 3-division world champion, former unified lightweight world champion, Ukrainian superstar boxer Vasil High-Tech Lomachenko. But Lomachenko, he doubts that idea quickly when he stated he is not coming back down to 130. So unless Shakur Stevenson is coming up to 135, and on top of that, if Shakur Stevenson doesn't have a belt, he has no interest. So Lomachenko, he put that idea away fairly quickly. Okay. And so with that said, that left Shakur Stevenson void of an opponent. And then Bob Arum, he stated that he could possibly make Shakur Stevenson against Miguel Bichelt. Now, Miguel Bichelt haven't been in the ring since he was brutally knocked out by, Oscar Valdez. So why would Shakur Stevenson fight Miguel Bichelt? So suddenly, shockingly, we see after Bob Arum and Top Rank are dealing with a legal issue with their former fighter and 3-division undefeated world champion, former junior welterweight undisputed world champion, currently the reigning WBO welterweight world champion, who is widely considered by many to be the #1 best fighter in the world, and Terrence Bud Crawford taken into court and citing that they didn't treat African-American fighters fairly, and they didn't promote them, and they didn't have the same interest and drive they did with other fighters such as Mexican fighters, and he's taken into court. Suddenly we see, just hours later, they discussed Oscar Valdez and Shakur Stevenson will be made, and that it's going to take place April 30th. Shakur Stevenson, he then tweeted out, my next fight is going to see me land on that pound-for-pound list for sure, okay, and it's Oscar Valdez, okay. I told the world it was going to be Oscar Valdez, and it is Oscar Valdez. So with that said, you know, now Oscar Valdez, you know, he responds, finally, his team, according to Bob Arum, it was his team, his longtime trainer, his new trainer, in well-renowned trainer, two-time trainer of the year, Eddie Reynoso, who also trains Canelo Alvarez, 4-division world champion, Mexican superstar boxer, who's currently the undisputed super middleweight, that they decided that Oscar Valdez should go ahead and fight Shakur Stevenson, and that Shakur Stevenson is a fight that they could win. Now, you remember Eddie Reynoso, he stated he liked to put his fighters in position where he feels they can win. And so now he's saying that he believes Shakur Stevenson is a fight that Oscar Valdez can win. And so now Oscar Valdez, he does an interview, and Oscar Valdez, he states that now is the time, and Shakur Stevenson can't run, okay? He can't avoid, you know, me in the ring. You know, now he's getting the fight that he wanted, okay? And it hasn't officially been announced, but we all know it's going to be announced officially very soon. You know, so Oscar Valdez, he does the interview in Spanish. You know, you need an interpreter to interpret the interview. And he's just essentially saying that Shakur Stevenson was calling for this fight. And the reporter asks Oscar Valdez, what did he think about, you know, Shakur Stevenson calling him out for so long without a fight happening. You know, he says he believes Shakur Stevenson is going to get what he's been looking for. And, you know, it's a great fight. He gives Shakur Stevenson credit. Shakur Stevenson is a great fighter. He's coming off a great win against Jamel Herring. But now he won't be able to run in the ring like he is with everybody else. And that essentially, in a nutshell, he's going to get what he's been looking for. And, you know, I take it as be careful what you wish for. So with that said, he was definitely, Oscar Valdez, well-spoken and very respectful. In my breakdown, the translation, you know, sometimes is a little sketchy when you're translating from Spanish to English. So with that said, Oscar Valdez, he says Shakur Stevenson, you know, is going to get what he was looking for, and he won't be able to run in the ring. Now, you look at past interviews Oscar Valdez did, he said similar things, you know, that he wanted Shakur Stevenson. He always uplifts and views Shakur Stevenson in high regards. And he says that in one interview, he says, send the contract over, you know, and let's make it happen. So now, you know, he's responding saying, we're going to make it happen. And in the ring, stylistically, obviously he was asked about the style of Shakur Stevenson, and he said he can't run. Well, if you look at Shakur Stevenson fight with Jamel Herring, you didn't see Shakur Stevenson running around the ring. He was standing right in front of Jamel Herring. He was countering him. He has the highest percentage of not getting hit in the sport of boxing currently as it stands today. So it's going to be very difficult for Oscar Valdez. Shakur Stevenson is if you saw Robson Conceição outboxing, you know, Oscar Valdez, and Shakur Stevenson is a level above Robson Conceição. Now, he's not as tall and rangy as him, but he's sharper, he's slicker, and he's not going to use wasted movement. Robson Conceição was using unnecessary wasted movement, but he still was countering Oscar Valdez big time. And so Shakur Stevenson, I expect he's going to get a stoppage victory over Oscar Valdez. This is no slight to Oscar Valdez, but styles make fights, and he's going to make Oscar Valdez miss in the phone booth, and he's going to make him pay in the phone booth. And he's going to stop Oscar Valdez, I believe. But it's going to be a very interesting fight. Man, I do believe this fight will land the winner on the pound-for-pound list for sure. So let's see how this all unfolds and plays out. But that's all I got for y'all. Make sure you hit the like button. Drop a comment in the comment section. Let me know what y'all think. Y'all already know what it is. It's your boy Blue, Blue Blood Sports TV. Hate, like, comment, and subscribe. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button. Hit the like button. Hit the bell icon to get all the new notifications. Follow me on Instagram at Blue Blood Sports TV, all in one word. Y'all already know what it is. Shout out to the entire LDBC. Shout out to New Media. Shout out to Black Media Row. Make sure you like and share the videos. That's all I got for y'all. Peace.
You're watching Blue Blood Sports TV. Wow.